Hello friends, in today's video I'm going to show you how to make this super cute and easy pumpkin on your Addi king size knitting machine. So we will need our king size Addi machine. I'm going to be using this Red Heart Super Saver. This color is carrot, but there are other oranges that you can use as well. You will also need some scissors, a tapestry needle, and I think and some stuffing. You will need stuffing. And then you will also need a little bit of brown yarn for the top, and that's pretty much all we're going to need for materials, so let's get started. Now, to begin, we are just going to do our normal cast on for starting any project. We don't need waste yarn. Now go ahead and click this video up here if you are completely new to the Addi machine. If you are not, then you just want to cast on. Make sure your counter is at 0 when you get back to the beginning, and then crank out about 80 to 120 rows. I'm going to do 120. If you want a smaller size pumpkin, go ahead and do 80 rows, but meet me back here and we will move on to the next part. Okay, so I'm actually going to stop at 100 rows right here, and you want to cut some yarn, and then we are just going to take all of our stitches off like we normally would, but I will show you how to do that as well, just in case you're new. Okay, so I went ahead and threaded my tapestry needle, and now that we're back at our black little needle here, we are going to pull off our yarn. So we're going to crank slowly but surely through this part. And if you haven't done this before, I highly recommend checking out my previous video. I'll also have it in the description box down below on how to take these off. But we're just slowly going to turn our work, and as the tooth goes down, we will take our tapestry needle and pull it off. So go ahead and do that to every single stitch around until you've pulled your work completely off of your machine. This is what you should have so far. So now what we're going to do is pull this side into here. So we're just going to pick one side to start pulling this in. Get that nice and tight. Now we're going to cinch up the other side as well. We are actually going to fold this in half and put both of the cinched ends on one side, if that makes sense. So let's see here. We're going to stick our hand in this side before we totally close it up, and we're going to pull inwards like this, just like we would a beanie. Okay, so if you were making a beanie on here, it'd be the same way. We're going to tighten this guy up. Make sure he's tight. We want to make sure that this guy is tight in the center. And when you feel like those are cinched up pretty good, you want to tie a knot. You don't need to worry about sewing both of these in, because only one is going to be on the outside. So I like to tie a couple knots. Okay, make sure that's lined up right in the center. We're going to do that on this side as well. Make a knot, or 2 or 3 or 4. I'll actually cut this a little bit shorter. Okay, so this one we are going to end up sewing in, but this is what we have so far. So now what we're going to do is we are actually going to start stuffing this, and then we're going to sew the top closed. So go ahead and stuff your pumpkin. Okay, so now I have my pumpkin stuffed, not overly stuffed. Now we're going to go from the top, and we are just going to grab a whole long piece of string here. See, quite a bit. And then we are I don't know, I would probably say I have a good maybe 3 feet here, because what we're going to do is we're going to go back and forth along the top here so that we can draw string this up like we do with our beanies. And then we are actually going, oops, don't do that, but then we're going to go back through the bottom. So just go ahead, go back and forth. Like I said, you probably want quite a few feet of yarn here because we also need to cinch up the inside of the pumpkin. So this part might take a second, but just go back and forth and back and forth all the way around. Okay, so now I have my pumpkin stuffed, not overly stuffed. Now we're going to go from the top, and we are just going to grab a whole long piece of string here. See, quite a bit. And then we are, I don't know, I would probably say I have a good maybe 3 feet here, because what we're going to do is we're going to go back and forth along the top here so that we can draw string this up like we do with our beanies. And then we are actually going, oops, don't do that, but then we're going to go back through the bottom. So just go ahead, go back and forth. Like I said, you probably want quite a few feet of yarn here because we also need to cinch up the inside of the pumpkin. So this part might take a second, but just go back and forth and back and forth all the way around. All the way around, we are going to pull on these strings so that we kind of close it up like this. Okay. Now we're going to have like a big giant blob here, big old just circle guy. Now we want to tighten these up as much as we can. And then take the shorter end of the strings, not the one that's still attached to your tapestry needle and very long. We're just going to tie these together. We want to make sure that we cinch it really tight to try to close that up as much as we can. Go ahead and make a second knot, just like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go in through all of our stuffing and back out the other side with our tapestry needle. It does help if you have a little bit of a longer needle, but if you don't have one, you can make do. So we're going to pull that string all the way through. Now we're going to section this out. So now we're going to go around our pumpkin just like this and turn it back to the side that we just came from. Okay, now we're going to go back into the middle, out the other side again, and pull that tight. Okay. So now that we have that, we're going to pull, cinch it in. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go the other way. So first we went this way, now we're going to go this way. So we're going to go around, turn, go back to the very top. Oops. And then again, we're going to go straight through that center and push it back out the other side. Just like that. Pull, pull. Okay, so now we're going to cinch that tight by pulling. Okay, so now we have our two sides done. So we're going to proceed to do that again. So we're here at the bottom. We're going to go, since we went these two ways, now we're going to go these two ways. So we're going to wrap around. And this kind of forms that shape of the pumpkin. So again, back through the center. This is the tricky part, is you want to make sure that you're going in and coming out in the same spot. Okay, so now we're going to pull that tight, and that's going to be this one here. Cinch it up. And now we're going to go the opposite way here. And then we only have to do this one more time. It just depends. See how it's kind of giving it that shape? Just depends on how many times you want to do it, but I'm definitely going to go around again for this side to this side. Now I went ahead and did that until I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sections. You can do as many as you want. You'll still have the tail here. I do have a little bit of a gap right here, and that is okay because we still have to make our stem, so do not worry about that. But what you do want to do is you want to, the one that you were making all of these sides, we want to tie this together with one of our extra strings, secure that off, go ahead and sew in all your ends, and then grab your brown yarn and a 5mm hook, or excuse me, a 4.5mm hook, and then meet me back here. Okay, so now we are going to move along to the top portion of our pumpkin that we're just going to sew right on top. Now this is fairly easy to do. So let's go ahead and grab some brown yarn and a 4.5mm hook. And what I think I'm actually going to do for this part is I'm going to place the row count of how we are going to crochet this, because it is fairly easy. I do want to mention that when you cut your yarn for the brown, you want to leave a long enough tail for sewing. If you didn't, that's no problem. Just go ahead and cut yourself a new piece of yarn. Now to sew, I just go into one of my brown stitches and just kind of loop out one of the orange ones, and then I'll loop back in through the brown and weave out, oops, through the orange. And I'm not too, oops, I lost my little guy here, but I'm not too particular about like which stitches I go into. It honestly, it just works out really nicely. Just kind of make sure that you're as even as you can. Don't miss too many stitches in between, and just kind of eyeball it until you work all the way around. And I just recommend going in and out, in and out. So always go in through the brown, and that's just how I work my stitches here. So go ahead and work that all the way around. Once you get back to the other side, you simply tie a knot and sew in your ends. Go ahead and clip this bad boy off, and voila! We have it all secured along the top, as you see, and we are all finished with our pumpkin. Congratulations, you guys. You did such a great job. Give yourself a pat on the back. If you made it through this whole video, please just leave me the comment pumpkin down below. Let me know that you made it all the way through. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, and please consider subscribing to my channel. It really does help me out a lot. And I will see you guys all next time for another tutorial here on Dream9 Designs Yarn Corner of YouTube.